Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Om. May Brahman protect us both. May Brahman bestow upon us both the fruit of knowledge. May we both obtain the energy to acquire knowledge. May what we both study reveal the truth. May we cherish no ill feeling toward each other. Om. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Om Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu. Om Sthapakaya Cha Dharmasya Sarvadharmasvarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishnaya Te Namaha. So we ended up our last class discussing about Upanayana. Upanayana is a sacred thread ceremony, and I would like to briefly discuss the summary of it. It is one of the most important ceremonies in the life of a human being. Every samskara or sacrament is very important. What is a sacrament? That which turns an ordinary action into something spiritual, sacred, is called sacrament. According to Hinduism, there are 41 important sacraments are there, of which we are aware of a few. But of all these sacraments that are compulsory to every Hindu, all the three upper classes, it is the sacred thread ceremony which is the most important. It is supposed to turn an ordinary person into a spiritual person. And this has been proved by Sri Ramakrishna's life. Not only was he born as a Brahmin, but through this ceremony he was re-emphasizing, re-establishing and re-validating the importance of sacred thread ceremony. We also have seen how he promised to Dhani that he would take his first bhiksha from her. And there was a conflict because Brahmins should not accept the first food, not even first food, even other types of foods also from a lower caste persons, much less from a Shudra. But Sri Ramakrishna said, I have promised. By this, what was he telling? What was he conveying? What message was he conveying? That anybody who has devotion to God, who is pure, that person should be considered as a Brahmana. Because we also saw, when somebody criticized Swami Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna firmly established he was more than a Brahmin because he had two important qualities. What are they? Devotion to truth, truthfulness, as well as absolute sense control. And here also, if we take Dhani's life, she was loving, she was a very loving woman, but her love towards Gadadhar, is it ordinary type of love or is there something spiritual there? It's very spiritual, because she could help many other women giving birth to children. But she found something extraordinary from the beginning of Gadadhar's life, his character. And he was very sweet. Many people could be very sweet. He was very intelligent. Many people could be intelligent. But what is it that makes us draw towards another person if we are very sincere? It is truthfulness. Very interesting topic. And genuine devotion cannot be hid. Many of us may be able to show our devotion to outside people, though not directly related. Let me give you an example. All of us are devotees, and when we go to the temple, we really show devotion to God. There is no doubt about it. How much each one of us would trust each other if it involves heavy amounts of money or something very important in one's life. How many of us trust each other? But supposing such a situation arises in the life of Dhani, and she has to tell somebody, she has to trust somebody. My question to you would be, would she trust Gadadhar to tell him all that happens to him and have faith that he would not take advantage of her? Will she trust or not? And this all of us will do. Even if we are not up to the mark, when we see somebody, a great character, the first thing that comes is, you know what is it? Trustability. We trust people. And we never trust people, however intelligent they are, however clever they are. We only trust people who have got that character. There is something which says in us that we can trust this person. In this regard, another psychological factor also. A child always trusts its mother. Why? Even though the mother may not be of great character, but so far as the child is concerned, she knows that here is a person whom I can trust absolutely, and she will do her best for my good. The child instinctively, not through reasoning, knows about it. And this kind of intuitive trust comes to each one of us when we see in front of our eyes a noble character. Here also there is another thought. Suppose there is a village, and suppose there is a person who is behaving in a very odd way. Call him, say, a mad person. But something is there within us which recognizes he may be mad, but he is absolutely sincere. So that trustability comes. That is something extraordinarily important. Dhani not only loved him because she was seeing him in front of her, not only loved him because of his talents, and he had extraordinary talents as we have seen. He could sing extremely well, he could read very well, and he was extraordinarily intelligent person, and he could understand the character of people. Even at that age, he could unerringly judge people's character and either trust them or not trust them. They were witnessing these events every day of their lives in front of them. There may be people whom we come across with this kind of talent, but we would not trust them. There must be a very special quality where we know this person can be trusted and he will never ever betray us, and he will always do something, whatever best he could do towards us. It is this that had made Dhani ask, I would like to be your mother. Now, if you see some mischievous child, would you instinctively feel, I would like to be the mother of this child? Yeah, you know, every man, every woman, when they see some certain children, they may not express it, but in their heart of hearts they say, how we wish we are the parents of these children. And we are not talking about cleverness or intelligence. We are talking about something, a great quality in life. And that was what Gadadhar had. The future Sri Ramakrishna had. He had abundantly proved. And another thought that came to me was, I think Dhani knew very well that even if she extracts promise from Gadadhar, what guarantee was there that his his mother and elder brothers, that they would approve. You know, in village everybody knows everybody else. But how could she demand and have faith that once Gadadhar says, yes, I will take, and he will carry it through? She must have had that extraordinary faith. In a way, this is also related to our life. Who is a disciple? A disciple is he who has that kind of trust in his guru, that my guru, he is a truthful person and he will do what he promises to do. Now examine your hearts and say, which of you who were initiated would ever think that my guru will not do what he promises to do. All of us have that faith, and it is this which makes us go forward. So the Upanayana has taken place, and I have spoken briefly. What about? Now I will speak briefly the essence of it. First of all, a person who takes to sacred thread, he is called Dvija. Dvija means twice born. Twice born means second time. Second birth, as we said, must have parents. So in this case, Gayatri, which represents Veda, she is the mother, and the Acharya. Who is the Acharya? Whoever bestows that Gayatri mantra is an Acharya. It could be father, usually it is an uncle, but it could be father also. And if for some reason these two are not available, then it could be any elderly person, any person in whom they have trust, so they can be. He becomes like a father. For the second birth, the mother is the Veda Mata, and a father is also required. Teacher or the Acharya or the Guru becomes the teacher. Now Gayatri represents the Veda Mata. As we have seen, once a person becomes a Dvija, Gayatri becomes Mata and Acharya becomes a Pita, father. So here Gayatri represents the entire Vedic teachings. Vedas means what? Vedic teachings. Very important for us. So when we take initiation, then we are also Dvijas. And so who is our mother? Say for example in Ramakrishna order, Holy Mother becomes our mother and Sri Ramakrishna becomes our father. But this we know. What we have to really understand is, what do we mean by Holy Mother and Sri Ramakrishna? It should mean two things to us. First thing is, they are not ordinary people, they are God, incarnations of, manifestations of God Himself. Because when we talk about God, the gender doesn't come into play. This is female, this is male. It doesn't come into play. Because God is beyond all gender. That is the first thing that comes. If we have firm conviction that I am a child of God, then what should be my opinion about myself? Naturally, every child, he knows instinctively, I am a human being. If it is a puppy, then puppy knows I am a puppy. A young one of a bird knows I am a bird. Somehow that identity is there. And you may ask, how do you know that they have that identity? We know because when the same species comes together, they are not frightened. Have you noticed it? When dogs come together, they fight on other matters like human beings. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about they instinctively realize this is our same species, so we can come together. They have an identity, and that identity proves if another animal comes, I am not that animal, I am frightened. Every human being knows, a child knows, I am a human being, instinctively. So also, when we get initiation, we must have that kind of feeling that we are children of the divine. Therefore, we are also divine. Then conflict comes. What is the conflict? Intellectually, I know. Through faith, I know I am divine. But in practical way, I do not know really. You see, that's what when you read Swami Vivekananda's works, each soul is potential divine, you nod your head. But you know inside that I am potentially divine, I accept. But practically not divine. The second outlook we have to say, if my mother is Holy Mother, my father is Sri Ramakrishna, then what type of life they led? And so if I deserve to be called their child, then what type of life should I also lead? That is where the teachings of the Veda come into prominence and say, from that day onwards. Which day? From the day a boy is invested with sacred thread, from that day onwards, he has to follow the teachings of the Vedas. Now you may ask, what are the teachings of the Vedas which the child has to practice in his day-to-day life? Whenever we are initiated, we are given a small booklet. It is called Upasana Paddhati. That is to say, instructions how to transform our life from an ordinary life into a divine life. We are asked to read every day the life of Sri Ramakrishna and practice his teachings as much as possible. So also to understand Sri Ramakrishna, so we have to read Swami, Vivekananda, etc. What is important is this boy is supposed to practice the Vedic teachings from that day onwards. So one of the things that used to happen in the olden days is, as soon as this ceremony takes place, he used to be taken to a Gurukula where he would get instructions how to live. And the teacher's business is, Guru's business, he recalled Gurukula. Teacher's business is to live that kind of life and to teach what he understands of the Vedas. That is why the samskara, that which refines a person, is called samskara, sacrament. Every religion has it, like baptism, etc. So this boy is supposed to stay there for a few years and then he comes. What happens when he comes back? The Guru summarizes all the teachings he had been giving throughout the boy's stay at the Gurukula, and this has been so beautifully hinted at the last chapter of the last section of the first chapter in the Taittiriya Upanishad, which we already had mentioned. What is that? Satyam vada dharmam chara swadhyayanma pramadaha matru devo bhava pitru devo bhava acharya devo bhava atidhi devo bhava. This is most marvelous convocation address we can ever get in the whole world. That summarizes a guideline for whole life for everybody. That's why they are called universal dharmas. Not Hindu dharmas, not only Indian dharmas, but for the whole world. There is no Christian, Muslim or anybody here. Satyamada, be truthful. Dharmam chara, live a righteous life. Swadhyayan ma pramadaha, do not deviate from the habit of studying the scriptures with devotion. And how scriptures have to be studied with devotion has been so beautifully put in the Imitation of Christ. There is a book called The Imitation of Christ by Thomas Kempis. There in one of the second, third or fourth, I don't remember, very beginning, it says, you should study the scriptures for the sake of finding out the truth, for developing devotion to God and not for scholarship. And that's what Sri Ramakrishna proved conclusively at the very beginning of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, when M came to Sri Ramakrishna and Sri Ramakrishna asks, what type of wife you have? He is very good person, but I am afraid she is a Ajnani. Ajnani means ignorant person. Instantaneously the axe comes down and you are a man of knowledge. What does it mean? According to Sri Ramakrishna, he is defining what is education, what is true education. This was what Swami Vivekananda had put it in a beautiful aphorism about religion and about education. Two aphorisms, if you still remember. Religion, the manifestation of divinity already in man. What is education? It is the manifestation of perfection already in man. Now, what is the difference between manifestation of divinity and manifestation of perfection? Seems to be it is the same thing he is putting into different words. In a general way, yes. In a special way, no. What is the special way? Religion means when a person takes to spiritual life. Swamiji did not mean by religion what we normally understand by religion, going to temples, making prayers and offering things and praying to God. That is, most people are religious of that kind. But what he meant, that there is a spiritual hankering, yearning, and that is what Swami Vivekananda really meant. But to manifest that divinity, he needs certain practical actions to be taken. And that's what Swami Vivekananda meant by education. And this concept is so beautifully brought out in one of the Upanishads. I wanted to share with you briefly what it is. There is an Upanishad called Mundaka Upanishad. And we must remember, Sri Ramakrishna is a Veda Purusha. That is why his teachings are nothing but true Vedas. That is why in one of the languages, the gospel is, the word gospel, unfortunately in my opinion, is not a good word. In English somehow it became the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. What do you understand the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna? Let's look at the Bengali title, Ramakrishna Katha Amritam. That word Amrita has a very special meaning for Indians in Sanskrit. The whole Bhagavatam, there is a story of Samudra Mantana, churning for the Amrita. What do you mean by Amrita there? In Puranic language, you don't understand Amrita means nectar, long life. It means Upanishadic meaning, how a man can become immortal. What makes a person immortal, and that is called Amrita. And it has nothing to do with any drink. It has something to do with knowledge. Knowledge. If it is a drink, that story you can go. Yeah. This Mundaka Upanishad tells something extraordinary. That is how I connect Sri Ramakrishna's teachings with the Upanishads, which Swami Bhuteshanji Maharaj, he used to do it so successfully. In fact, it is from him only we all learned a little bit of this. This Mundaka Upanishad starts with a particular question, one question. What is it? By knowing, everything else is known. Is there some knowledge? By having that knowledge, everything that is to be known can be known. What is the implication? This statement looks a little bit difficult, a little bit confusing if we look at it from the ordinary way. But these Upanishadic students, you have to understand, they are like PhD students, very advanced. Already they have a lot of background knowledge. Because even to ask the question, he must be knowing there is something, knowing which everything can be known. In simple words, what he was asking is, our day-to-day experience, if you know, if you have knowledge of wood, then you will have knowledge of anything made out of wood. If you have the knowledge of gold, then you will know about the knowledge about all the ornaments that have been made, that are being made, and that would be made in future. You see what is the point? If you know the cause, then you will know all the knowledge of the effects. And always we have already discussed this point. The cause will be only one, but the effects can be any number. Wood is only one, but the number of objects that can be made out of wood can be almost beyond count. By knowing this one, then we can know everything. And this was what Sri Ramakrishna's beautiful, simple example really means. You are cooking a big pot of rice and you want to know whether the rice is properly cooked or not. What do? Do you go on pressing each grain of rice, or by just pressing one grain, you will have the knowledge the entire rice is cooked or not? This is what he is meaning. By knowing the cause, you will know everything else. The answer to that question is, strangely, dve vidye veditavye paracha aparacha. There are two types of knowledge one should have. One is called aparavidya, another is called paravidya. Lower knowledge and higher knowledge. Now, the conflict will come. Which one should we opt? Lower knowledge or higher knowledge? The answer the teacher gives is, both are necessary. Why is necessary? If you wanted to have a beautiful building, foundation is also necessary, then only building can be constructed. Aparavidya should not be discarded because it is like the foundation. And paravidya ultimately is the ultimate goal. So you stop with the foundation, the building will be absolutely useless. And you cannot, if you construct a building without foundation, that also is equally, in Mumbai, so many buildings fall down. sometimes for a reason, many times without any reason. What did Sri Ramakrishna, why did he reject this kind of thing? Do you get what I am talking about? The teacher in the Upanishad is definitely telling there are not two types of knowledge. One is preparation for the higher knowledge and another is implementation of that knowledge. First is general knowledge, second is specific knowledge. What does he mean? The first, training. What is the training? Concentration of the mind, the capability to understand, to receive and to retain. But afterwards, it should lead to only one goal. What is that one goal? By which you will be happy forever. To put it in simple words, God means what? I want to be happy forever. That knowledge which makes us not sometimes happy and sometimes unhappy, but which makes me happy forever. That is called Paravidya. So there is a notion among some of the devotees of Sri Ramakrishna that he rejected this Aparavidya and he only accepted Paravidya. Lower knowledge he didn't care, only higher knowledge. That means he say, oh, don't waste your time, you turn towards God. But if you come to Swami Vivekananda, what did he say? He encouraged people to have knowledge of different subjects and to have, but one thing he said, the main purpose of education is one. What is it? The manifestation of perfection. Another word for this manifestation of perfection is called building up of character. That's what Swami Vivekananda meant. And then you can have any type of knowledge you want. And it is interesting to note. So what is the motto of Ramakrishna order? Atmano mokshartham jagat hitaya cha. Atmano mokshartham indicates Paravidya, supreme knowledge, and jagat hitaya indicates what? Aparavidya. If you are a doctor, if you are a teacher, if you are a lawyer, if you are whatever you are, everybody can use their knowledge for attaining to the highest. But all must have that only one aim. Whatever may be the different activities, all activities must have only one aim. What is it? Manifesting the divinity. Manifestation of perfection is building up of the character. And one's character, it is like a foundation. Manifestation or building up of character is like making a foundation. But what good will foundation do unless you build a beautiful edifice? And what is the edifice? That is called divinity, manifestation of divinity. Know who you are. The essence of all knowledge is to know who we really are. How is this to be found? By the manifestation of building up of character. And that's what in this Veda, Taittiriya Upanishad, Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara, Swadhyayaan Ma Pramadaha, and Matrudevo Bhava. Slowly he is leading the persons first to build the foundation, and then once you are firmly fixed, and foundation also is called firmness. What is firmness? Once I know what is my goal, I should not deviate any longer. I should go straight to the goal only. Now all these things are implied, but Sri Ramakrishna's character was already built. Firm foundation was already built. Truthfulness was there. Could he ever become unrighteous? And he knows the essence of the scriptures. See, Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara, Swadhyayaan Ma Pramadaha. Practice truthfulness, live a righteous life, and study the scriptures. What is the point of studying the scriptures? Sri Ramakrishna, he gives this beautiful example. Once a Ramayat sadhu, he came to Dakshineshwar. He had a big book. And then he will open and read. And one day Sri Ramakrishna, he became curious and he opened the book and saw on every page was written only Rama. And the sadhu explained, what is the essence of all scriptures? That only God. So if you have firm faith in God, and if you really want to be immortal, you have to realize God. You have to have faith. You must start with faith, and faith doesn't come unless character is built. This is a very important point. If a person lives an untruthful life, unrighteous life, indisciplined life, can he ever have faith? Now you give me the answer. Is it possible for a person to have faith in anything, let alone God, in anything, unless he is truthful, unless he is... Now here is a psychological explanation. What is the opposite of truthfulness? Untruthfulness. What is the opposite of righteousness? Unrighteous. When a person is leading an untruthful and unrighteous life, what would be his faith also? Untruthful faith and untruthful, unrighteous faith. What does that mean? It means it is sometimes a little, sometimes not a little, but always that faith will be only not in God, but faith in... because another name for God is truth. So if a person is leading untruthful life, how can he have faith? If a person is leading untruthful life, he has more faith in what? Untruth. That means he is not having faith in God at all. These are all connected. That is why first Sri Ramakrishna, from the very beginning, he could never do anything wrong. He could never tell a lie, and he could never do anything that is wrong. But sometimes he demanded logical, rational explanations of why he should not do some things. For example, why he should not peep at women who are taking bath. Once it is explained, then thereafterwards he understood and said, yes, I will never do it in my life. In this connection is a beautiful incident. As I said, when we are studying we are not reading, we are studying the life of Sri Ramakrishna, and these are very striking incidents. You know, at one point, Sri Ramakrishna's Guru Totapuri, he forgot about his Brahmagnana, and he was about to beat a temple servant. You know that incident? He came to take some fire from the dhuni, etc. And Sri Ramakrishna fell down on the ground, laughing uproariously. Totapuri asked, why are you laughing? He didn't understand why Sri Ramakrishna was laughing. And he said, I am Tor Brahmagyaner Daud Kototuku Dekchi. Just now you are speaking, everything is Brahman, and now you have forgotten everything. Because who can beat whom? Who can be angry with whom? Only one non-Brahman can become angry with another non-Brahman. You are talking everything is Brahman, and you are behaving quite opposite way. The point of the story is, Totapuri understood. Two points he understood. First of all, it was wrong on his part to get angry, because when he is professing everything is God, then he can't get angry with anybody. God cannot become angry with God. But the second point is, he was totally unconscious that he became angry. And for a spiritual aspirant who doesn't know what he is doing, that is the deadliest enemy. You see the point? He was supposed to be a man of samadhi. How could any emotion take place which is contrary to spiritual life without his knowledge? And this is what happened in the life of Vishwamitra. First time when the temptation came, he fell. Second time when the temptation came, he fell again. First time he fell a victim to lust. Second time he fell a victim to anger. And he was not aware that he was angry. But then after falling down, he understood. Third time the temptation came. This time he was fully aware that I would not fall a victim to lust. I will not fall a victim to anger also, because both are different forms. Very interestingly, Gita is also a depth psychology book. He says, so kama turns into krodha. Very interesting. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu upajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho vijayate krodhat bhavati sammohaha sammohat smriti vibhramaha smritir bhramshat buddhinashaha buddhinashat pranashyati. A chain of downfall. What is it? If you are in contact with objects of temptation, one day the desire will come. That's why Sri Ramakrishna used to say, sadhu Savdhan. Because one day you may not feel, second day you may not feel, after 1 year you may not feel. But one day, like a serpent, it will come and unconsciously, it happened also, I will not mention the thing what happens. One man had fallen down actually. The point is that first, what is the first thing that comes? Kama. Kama means intense desire. And in this intense desire, when it is frustrated, what does it turn into? Anger. And when too much anger overtakes, a person forgets himself. When a person forgets, he would lose one particular faculty. You know what is it? Discrimination. And when discrimination is lost, smrutir bhramsha will come. That is confusion of memory, loss of memory. When loss of memory comes, the power of decision goes away. When the power of decision goes away, the man goes to ruin. He will be ruined. What a beautiful way. I will not elaborate today, but this is very important to know for us. The purpose of leading a truthful life, a righteous life, is to lay a beautiful foundation. Now here Totapuri, he was not even aware. Now the further story that continues is, then he becomes aware. Then he says something, if you remember. You know what he says? When Sri Ramakrishna reminded him, just now you are talking about everything is Brahman, and now you are about to beat another man. The incident is very important. It looks insignificant, but very important for Totapuri, because he was reminded. But he is reminded that I could do something without my being aware. Not only that. Now this is an incident with regard to anger. But if this can happen once, what about the other thing that can happen? He can also fall a victim to lust. Yes, it could happen, because if once a person can fall, then he can fall in any way. Then he understood a great truth. There is something which makes me, even though I am a Brahmagyani, there is something which I can't understand, but which is controlling me from behind, of which I have no clue, and I am not accepting it. So Totapuri became very angry. But important point for us is, from that day, he accepted two things. The first thing is, there is something of which I have no clue, but Sri Ramakrishna had a clue. The second thing, he said, from today, I will never become angry in my life. And it is seen, he never became angry in his life. Now tell me, what is the symbolism of this incident, this promise? If you promise that I will never do such a thing, and for you not to do that such a thing whole life, what is the first qualification you need? You have to be alert all the time. You see, consciously you may not do it. Totapuri never did it consciously, but you may do it unconsciously. That means what? You have to be constantly watchful and aware. But to conclude this story, let me complete it. This person, Totapuri, he understood there is something, some power which is controlling me, which is beyond me. He had to wait for 11 months. And then he decided, even second time he fell into the error. You know what is the error? This is my body, I can give it up anytime I want. So you know this story, he waded into the Ganges and he could not die. The point is not Ganges, he could not die. Then he understood that I have no power because this body doesn't belong to me. By implication, this mind also doesn't belong to me. What a great truth came. Then as soon as that humility has come, immediately Divine Mother revealed and said, it is I who has become the entire universe. This was what Sri Ramakrishna's teaching, Brahman and Shakti are one and the same. Totapuri was fully aware of the other side, but he was not aware of this side. The same Brahman, the other side is Brahman, this side is world. Shakti means what? World. The moment his vision lifted, from that day, the Ganges, his body, Ramakrishna's body, the temple, the Divine Mother in the temple, everything is nothing but Brahman. Incidentally, yes, I am telling because this thought came, connected thought. Somebody started criticizing I think Swami, in front of Swami himself, I think, that why some people worship idols and why some people worship human beings, their gurus. Swami Vivekananda would have been the first person to approve and criticize in his earlier days. But now he had become, from otherwise, he got promotion into wise. Then he said, if God is everywhere, why do you think that he is not there in the image? Why he is not there in a human being? So he said then, if you can see God in a image, it is far better, much better manifestation is in a human being. This is what he advocated. But he never criticized anybody who worshipped a stone or a piece of wood or an icon or a symbol. He never again. He did criticize, including Sri Ramakrishna. He criticized not only his friends, brother disciples later on, but he criticized. Even now he goes to Kali temple. Yes, he passed many charitable remarks about his own guru, and then he paid the heavy price afterwards. Anyway, why I brought all these things? When after Upanayana, the main purpose in Vedic times of Upanayana is to take the student to the Gurukula, and the Guru's purpose is not to give academic education, but most important to build up the character of the child. Upanishadic stories amply illustrate this fact, which I am not going to give you. But at the end of the studies, when the student is returning, that is another samskara, called samavartana. Means returning is Upanayana means going to the Guru. Samavartana means coming back from the Guru to home. There is a ceremony is there. At that time, like your university students, this convocation address is given. That is where this I mentioned, quoted a little bit, Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara, Swadhyayanma Pramadaha, and all those things. That means a blueprint for the whole life. This is how you guide your life. And if we study Sri Ramakrishna's life, that's exactly what had happened. He guided his life, but who taught him? You can say in a way, his own father, his own mother were his role models, as it were. That's why he said, I would like to live my life like my father did, devoted to truthfulness, simplicity, compassion, and total dependence upon God and unselfishness. These are the Brahminic qualities. Guna Brahmana, not only Jati Brahmana, not only Karma Brahmana, because Karma Brahmana means what? Living like a Brahmana through certain actions only. But most important, Guna Brahmana, developing those qualities which qualify him. You are a particular Brahmana. Now, I said briefly, it took nearly 45 minutes just to be brief, even introduction to Upanayana. Okay, Gayatri represents the Veda Mata, and a person becomes Dvija, twice born, and his life is governed or to be governed by Vedic teachings. What is the lifestyle the scriptures prescribe? It involves three important factors. First, it involves certain attitudes, how a person looks upon things and beings in creation. Matrudevo bhava, pitrudev, how a person looks, how he should look as manifestations of God, ultimately, at least with reverence, at least with respect, not a negative way. And that means what? If I can look upon others in a positive way, how should I look upon myself? And in fact, who can look upon others positively? Who can look? Only a person who looks upon himself also in a most positive way. How a person looks upon his parents, his teachers, his elders. It involves having healthy attitudes. That's where Matrudevo Bhava, Pitrudev, etc. comes. Let your mother be God, let your father be God, let your teacher be God, let everybody be like God to you. Then second, when we do certain things, that itself indicates our attitude towards even ordinary things. For example, for a Hindu, if there is a printed paper, he should not put his foot. Why? Because this paper contains writing. Writing means knowledge. Knowledge means Saraswati. Similarly, food. There's a beautiful injunction in the Taittiriya Upanishad, Annam na nindiyat. Do not criticize food. Do not criticize. Though I do criticize. Junk food, lousy food, and all those things. We should never criticize because, you see, what is not suitable for us may be very suitable to some others. Some rotten food. Rotten food is very welcome to some, insects, grubs and other cockroaches and other creatures. Food is sacred. Food is annam brahmeti vijanat. Interesting. Before we eat food, what is the mantra we say? Brahmarpana. So Brahmarpana means what? Everything connected with eating is Brahman, including the food, of course. That means, supposing there is some food, because you don't eat and then do Brahmarpana, you do Brahmarpana and then eat. Suppose it is not very tasty. What should you do? Should you make a distinction between tasty food and non-tasty food?
No.
And if we do, who will be the loser? We have to have that reverential attitude towards every type of food. That is why Holy Mother creates, and some monks had thrown some peels, etc. She said, no, that is the proper food for cows, etc., or for other animals. It should not be thrown like that. This is what every paper represents Mother Saraswati, and every food represents Mother Annapurna or Brahman, like that. Then certain values like Satyam, etc., Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, the Yama and Niyama, that is the essence of second what a Brahmana should really do, Vedic teachings. Then the third is Nitya Karma. There are certain karmas which we must do Nitya. Nitya means what? Every day. One of the things is this Upanayana, this Sandhya Vandana should be done every day. This also can be done in two ways, with two motives. One motive is worldly benefit. It will come. But the real benefit is spiritual progress. We also had discussed Upasana, meditation. It is a worship as a meditation. Sandhya Vandana is a Upasana. Upasana, what is the benefit? We already discussed three benefits. Chitta Ekagrata, Chitta Shuddhi, and Chitta Vaishalyata. The mind gets expanded. My identity becomes expanded. The main purpose of the Sandhya for a Dvija is, we are talking about this sacred thread ceremony, Upanayana. So the main purpose is spiritual progress. You are potentially divine. You have to develop, manifest your divinity. And this is a beginning. You take a vow. What they do, they invest the boy with a thread which usually consists of 3 strands. There are certain rules. If he is married, then he should wear 9. If he is grown up, then he should wear 6. So like that, 3, 6, 9, etc. But main is only 3. What does these 3 strands, what does it mean? It is to remind every Brahmana that you have to have control over 3 things. Thoughts and speech and actions, or you have to purify your gross body, subtle body and causal body. It is to remind us. That's why before we do anything, any puja or anything, people do a particular rite called Achamana. You know what is Achamana? Take water in the palm, and I think before initiation you did it 3 times. You repeat Om Vishnu, or say Om Ramakrishna, or Keshava, Madhava, Govinda, Achyuta, etc. Now the purpose is, first sipping, let my gross body become pure. Even if it be impure, let it become pure. The second sipping is, let my subtle body become pure, even if it is impure so long. And the third sipping is meant for, even my causal body also be pure, even if it is not pure at this time. The purpose is to purify oneself. Then a mantra is uttered, which is very important in every puja for every अपवित्रः पवित्रो वा सर्वावस्थां गतोऽपि वा यः स्मरेत् पुण्डरीकाक्षं स बाह्याभ्यन्तर शुचिः. He says that whether a person is pure or impure, by remembering the name of God, Pundarikaksha means the name of Narayana, God, then he becomes pure in every way. Then there is one Vedic mantra which I consider as one of the most important things. Tad Vishnoho paramam padam sada pashyanti surayah diviva chakshuratatam. A bit difficult to translate, but I will give the explanation. Surayah means sages, realized souls. They see God everywhere. How do they see? Suppose you get up to the top of a mountain, it is a beautiful sunny day, and that means what? You can see a long distance very, very clearly. A sage is one who sees God everywhere, like a person who gets up to the top of a mountain, and on a clear sunny day he is able to look upon this whole surroundings in such a crystal clear way. What does that mean? By your grace, O God, may I be able to see you everywhere in the same manner as a realized soul sees you. This is called imitation of Christ, imitation of Sri Ramakrishna, imitation of Ramana Maharshi, imitation of anybody. This is the mantras. These are the type of mantras one has to make. Then the word Sandhya. As soon as a boy is invested, he has to do at least twice. Dawn and at dusk, he should go to a river or he should go to the sea shore, and then looking at the rising sun, looking at the setting sun, he should be able to do it. Now that period, junction between the day and night is called Sandhya. Sandhi. The first meaning of Sandhya, Sandhi, is that time of the day when day and night meet together, or night and day come together. The second meaning of Sandhi, that is the time, this is most important meaning of it, is when a devotee meets the Lord. That is the time when the devotee exclusively has an appointment with God, and he should think nothing else but God. This is called Sandhya. So this Sandhya, dawn and dusk, in Vedic literature is also called Sandhya Devi. Another meaning of this word Sandhya is she is a goddess. Why? Because this is the time when the mind naturally, because of the external phenomena, natural phenomena, becomes very calm and quiet. That is why Brahma Muhurta, Sandhya Kala is specially allotted for so-called spiritual practices. These are the meanings of the word Sandhya. Sandhya means she is a goddess. Sandhya means time of the day. Sandhya means above all that particular time when we meet with God. A devotee, a soul meets with God, and then he exclusively wants to only keep God in mind, at least at that time. Then later on, until it becomes a natural habit, he has to continue this one. This worship of Sandhya Devi is called Sandhya Vandanam, and she is worshipped usually at 3 times. Early morning, at dawn, at midday, and at dusk. This is the time. The first form in the Surya Mandala, looking at the sun. For Hindus, the sun is not a stardust, but it is completely what you call divine. The God Pratyaksha Devata. Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi. I see you, Brahman, in front of my eyes in the form of sun, because our whole life depends upon the sun. That is the one. This Sandhya is done early morning. The Brahmana boy worships Gayatri. Then another name for Gayatri is Savitri at noon, and Saraswati in the evening. The same goddess or God is worshipped 3 times as Gayatri, 3 times, Savitri, Saraswati. And then there are certain things he has to do it at many times. There are at least 8 to 10 parts are there, but the whole ritual can be divided into three parts. The first part of the ritual is purification by sipping water, etc., and praying to God. The second part of this is praying to various gods and goddesses like Ganapati, for example. Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Sheshivarnam. Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Sheshivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopa Shantaye. This is whose stotra is it? Ganesha stotra. Why? Sarva Vignopa Shantaye. He is of white nature and his Vishnu means he is everywhere. And he is very gracious, Prasannavadanam, very graciously looking at you, and he is the creator of, Lord of obstacles. That means what? He can remove the obstacles if he is pleased, he can create obstacles if he is displeased. That is why before doing anything, Ganesha Vandana, Ganesha Puja is most, in every Hindu puja, Ganesha worship is done by everybody. Otherwise, sure he will come in and interfere in some way and then you are finished. And then pranayama is there. You know pranayama, controlling of the breath control. Then sankalpa. Sankalpa is a kind of auto-suggestion. You know, before we do puja, we have to do sankalpa. Sankalpa means making a resolution, I am doing this puja for this particular purpose. I am doing this Sandhya Vandana for the sake of manifesting my potential divinity, and that can happen only by your grace. That is the real meaning. Ultimately, the ultimate is Gayatri Mantra Japa. That is repeating the Gayatri Mantra. And afterwards, before repeating Gayatri, there is called Avahana, welcoming Gayatri. Ayatu Varada Devi, like that there is a mantra is there, and that means, O Mother, please come and please accept my puja. And then in the end, this farewell stotra also is there. You please go to your own place. This is feeling the presence of the Sandhya Devi. But after welcoming her, establishing her on the seat in the heart, he has to do this at least 108 times. Now people do 10 times, 20 times according to their time. This Gayatri Mantra. What is the Gayatri Mantra? Om Bhurbuha Swaha Tat Savitiruvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Then he bids farewell, and afterwards he will say, O Mother, please come again, I want to see you again. With this he makes pranams, with this he Japa Samarpana is offering the fruits of this whole ritual at the feet of the mother. Here Divine Mother, whom Sri Ramakrishna called Shakti, is the mother. In various forms she is worshipped. I will stop this talk with only one mention. When we say Saguna Brahma, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, actually another name for them is Shakti. Because Saguna Brahma is one which gives birth. That's why Shakti. Shakti means what? It is the Divine Mother. Divine Mother only takes the form of Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, because Shakti means energy. Without energy, Brahma cannot create, Vishnu cannot sustain, and Shiva cannot take us back to our original cause, material. Even though we say it is male, female, actually it is, everything is the Divine Mother. That's what Sri Ramakrishna wanted to prove through his life, that there are only two realities, Saguna Brahma called Shakti, Nirguna Brahma called Brahman. And Brahman can never be, he cannot be described, he cannot be thought of, only Shakti we can. But if we really get the grace of Shakti, then through her grace, she removes the veil from her own form and says, you behold. And when we behold, we become one with her. This is called moksha, liberation, whatever you call. Ishavasya Upanishad, it tells, Hiranmayena patrena satyasya pitam mukham tattvam poshan apavrano satya dharmaya drishnaye. O Lord, please remove your veil, which is the golden disc, because I want to see who you really are. That means I want to see who I am really. It is like, a mirror is covered with a cloth, and then you are not able to see. Then you pray to the Divine Mother, oh Mother, will you come and remove this cloth from the mirror so that I want to see. And when I see, what do I see? Myself. This is the most wonderful truth. Sri Ramakrishna says, what a vision I had. I saw mother from this side of the mirror. I saw the mother from the other side of the mirror. What a vision, he says. It means if there is a mirror, usually what do you see? Whoever is standing in front, you see. But here Sri Ramakrishna is telling, in front of the mirror I see the Divine Mother, and on the other side of the mirror also what do I see? Only Divine Mother, indicating the whole universe without exception is nothing but the Divine Mother. Om Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Muhur Muhu.